I cheated on my partner and I don't know how to fix it. I never thought I'd be the kind of person to write something like this, but here I am, staring at my laptop screen with a knot in my stomach. My name is Erin, and I'm 27. For the last 3 years, I've been in a relationship with Daniel, a guy who checks all the boxes, kind, patient, and funny in that dry, sarcastic way that always makes me laugh. He's the kind of guy you'd describe as solid, the kind of person you can count on no matter what. I should have been happy. I was happy, or at least I thought I was. But then I made a mistake, a colossal, life-altering mistake that I can't take back. It started out innocent enough. At work, there's this guy, Liam. He's a consultant who comes in a few times a month for projects, and over time, we started talking during breaks. It wasn't anything serious at first, just the usual office banter about deadlines, bad coffee, and how the air conditioning is always freezing. But somewhere along the line, those casual chats turned into something more. I didn't see it coming. One day, we were just two co-workers sharing a laugh about how the printer always jams, and the next, I was looking forward to his visits more than I should have. I'd find myself checking my calendar to see when he'd be in the office, fixing my hair in the mirror before heading to the break room. It wasn't just a crush. It felt like he understood me in a way I hadn't realized I was craving. Daniel and I were fine, comfortable, steady. But maybe that was the problem. Liam felt new and exciting, like a spark I hadn't felt in a long time. I told myself it was harmless, that there was nothing wrong with enjoying the attention. But deep down, I knew I was walking a fine line. The day everything changed was one of those gray, drizzly Tuesdays that make you want to crawl back into bed. Liam and I ended up working late on a presentation for a client, and when it was finally done, we were both too tired to go home right away. Instead, we grabbed a drink at the bar across the street, just to unwind. At first, it was normal, small talk about work, trading stories about our lives. But as the night wore on and the drinks kept coming, the conversation turned personal. Liam told me about his messy breakup and how hard it had been to trust someone again. I told him about how Daniel and I had been stuck in a rut, how it felt like we were roommates more than partners sometimes. I should have seen the warning signs, the way his hand lingered on mine when he passed me a napkin, the way his eyes seemed to linger just a little too long. But I didn't stop it. Maybe I didn't want to. By the time we left the bar, the rain had stopped, leaving the streets slick and glistening under the streetlights. He offered to walk me to my car, and I said yes, my heart pounding in my chest. When we got there, I turned to thank him, and that's when it happened. He kissed me. For a split second, I froze. His lips were soft, his hand resting lightly on my arm. It wasn't rough or rushed, it was gentle, tentative, almost as if he was giving me the chance to pull away. But I didn't. Instead, I kissed him back. It was like my brain had shut off, and all I could focus on was the moment, the warmth of his breath, the faint scent of cologne lingering on his shirt. For those few seconds, nothing else existed. Not Daniel, not the 3 years we'd spent building a life together, not the little voice in my head screaming at me to stop. When we finally broke apart, reality hit me like a freight train. My chest tightened, and my stomach churned with guilt. I have to go, I stammered, stepping back so quickly I almost tripped over the curb. Erin, Liam started, his voice soft, but I couldn't bear to hear whatever he was going to say. I'm sorry, I blurted out, fumbling with my car keys. This was a mistake. I didn't wait for his response. I got in my car and drove off, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. The entire drive home, my mind was racing. What had I just done? How could I have let it get this far? When I walked into the apartment, Daniel was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone. He looked up and smiled at me, completely unaware of the storm raging inside me. Hey, babe. How was work? Long, I said quickly, avoiding his eyes. I'm gonna take a shower. I locked the bathroom door and stood under the scalding water, hoping it would wash away the guilt. But no amount of soap or scrubbing could erase the memory of that kiss, or the fact that I had betrayed the man waiting for me in the next room. Over the next few days, I tried to act normal, but it was impossible. Every time Daniel looked at me, I felt like he could see right through me, like he somehow knew. I started avoiding him, finding excuses to stay late at work or head to bed early. But the distance only made things worse. And then, as if the universe was testing me, Liam sent me a text. "Liam, hey. Can we talk? I don't want things to be weird between us." I stared at the message, my heart pounding. I knew the right thing to do was to ignore it, to cut things off completely. But instead, I found myself typing back. "Me, sure. Let's meet after work tomorrow." What was I doing? Why couldn't I just leave it alone? I told myself it was to clear the air, to make sure we could work together without any lingering awkwardness. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. I wasn't ready to let go of whatever this was, whatever he was. The next evening, we met at the same bar. This time, I only ordered water, determined to keep my head clear. Liam looked nervous, running a hand through his hair as he sat across from me. "Aaron, I'm sorry about the other night," he began. "I didn't mean to make things complicated for you. I like you. I have for a while." My heart sank. Hearing him say it out loud made everything so much worse. "Liam, I can't do this," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "I'm with Daniel. I love him." "I know," he said, his eyes searching mine. "And I'm not trying to come between you two. But if you're happy with him, why did you kiss me back?" His question hit me like a punch to the gut. I didn't have an answer, not one I could say out loud, anyway. Was I unhappy with Daniel? Or was I just selfish, craving the thrill of something new and forbidden? "I don't know," I admitted, my voice cracking. "I don't know what's wrong with me." Liam reached across the table and took my hand, his touch sending a jolt through me. "Maybe nothing's wrong with you," he said. "Maybe you're just figuring out what you want." But that was the problem, I didn't know what I wanted. I left the bar feeling more confused than ever. Liam's words echoed in my mind, but they didn't bring me any clarity, only more guilt. I didn't want to hurt Daniel, but I already had. And now, I was at a crossroads I didn't know how to navigate. When I got home, Daniel was in the kitchen, making dinner. The smell of garlic and onions filled the air, and he turned to smile at me like he always did, his face lighting up in a way that used to make my heart skip. "Perfect timing," he said, holding up a spoon for me to taste the sauce. "What do you think? Too much basil?" I forced a smile and tasted it, nodding. "It's great. You're amazing." He laughed. "I'll take that as a yes." The normalcy of it all, the casual way he interacted with me, completely unaware of the chaos I'd caused, made me feel like the worst person in the world. How could I stand here, pretending everything was fine, when I was carrying this secret? After dinner, I sat on the couch while Daniel cleaned up, scrolling aimlessly through my phone. My mind was a mess, torn between telling him the truth and burying it forever. Part of me wanted to come clean, to take responsibility for my actions. But the thought of seeing his face fall, of watching the trust we'd built crumble, was unbearable. As the days passed, the guilt only grew heavier. Every time Daniel kissed me goodbye or asked me about my day, I felt like a fraud. I started waking up in the middle of the night, my chest tight with panic. I couldn't keep this inside anymore, it was eating me alive. Finally, one evening, I couldn't take it. Daniel was sitting at his desk, working on something for his job, and I stood in the doorway, my hands shaking. "Hey," I said softly, my voice barely audible. He looked up, smiling. "Hey, what's up?" I need to talk to you." The smile faded from his face as he turned his chair toward me, sensing the seriousness in my tone. "Okay. What's going on?" I took a deep breath, my throat tightening as the words formed in my head. This was it, the moment I'd been dreading. "I made a mistake," I began, my voice trembling. "A big one." And I need to tell you because you deserve to know. Daniel's expression shifted, his brow furrowing in confusion. What kind of mistake? I couldn't look him in the eye. I stared at the floor as I spoke, the words tumbling out in a rush. I kissed someone else. Someone from work. It didn't mean anything, and it's over, but it happened. And I'm so sorry. The silence that followed was unbearable. When I finally looked up, Daniel was staring at me, his face a mix of shock, hurt, and disbelief. You kissed someone, he said slowly, as if he was trying to make sense of it. I nodded, tears streaming down my face. It was a mistake. I wasn't thinking, and it's the worst thing I've ever done. I hate myself for it, Daniel. I hate that I hurt you. He stood up, running a hand through his hair. Why? Was I not enough for you? Did I do something wrong? No, I said quickly, my voice breaking. It wasn't about you. It was me. I don't even know why I did it. I messed up. Daniel let out a bitter laugh, shaking his head. You messed up? Aaron, we've been together for 3 years. I thought we had something real. And now you're telling me you threw it away for, what? A random guy? It wasn't random, I admitted, my stomach sinking. It was someone I work with. But it didn't mean anything, Daniel. I swear. He stared at me, his jaw tightening. How am I supposed to believe that? How am I supposed to trust you after this? I don't know, I said, my voice barely a whisper. But I want to fix this. I'll do whatever it takes. Daniel didn't say anything for a long time. Finally, he grabbed his jacket and keys, avoiding my eyes. I need some air, he muttered, walking out the door before I could stop him. As the door clicked shut, I sank to the floor, my chest heaving with sobs. I'd done the one thing I swore I never would, I'd broken the heart of the person I loved most. And now, I didn't know if there was any way to put the pieces back together. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like.